Held on August 14, 1385, the Battle of Aljubarrota was a crucial battle in Portuguese history. Portuguese independence from Castile was established by this conflict, which also paved the way for Portugal to become a major naval power. This is a thorough explanation of the conflict and its importance. A dynastic crisis was the cause of the Battle of Aljubarrota. Portugal's King Ferdinand I passed away in 1383 without leaving a male heir. The possibility of Portugal being incorporated into Castile was increased by the marriage of his only daughter, Beatrice, to King John I of Castile. This potential caused great unpopularity among Portuguese nobles and commoners, which resulted in the 1383 to 1385 crisis, a period of civil unrest. John of Avis's ascension, John of Avis, Ferdinand I's half-brother, rose to prominence as the leader of the anti-Castilian movement during this turbulent time. Despite opposition from Castile, the Portuguese Cortes Assembly crowned him King John I of Portugal in 1385. To combat Spanish invasion, King John I of Castile invaded Portugal in reaction to the ascension of John I in order to uphold his wife's right to the Portuguese throne. The Castilian forces possessed a superior troop strength of 20,000 to 30,000, comprising professional soldiers and well-equipped knights. Portuguese approach. With the backing of his devoted general Nuno Álvares Pereira, John I of Portugal readied himself to confront the advancing army. With the Treaty of Windsor in 1386, Portugal had established an alliance with England. Therefore, the majority of the 6,000 to 7,000 soldiers in the Portuguese army were peasant soldiers, with a minor force of English archers. Pereira exercised great care in choosing the battleground, settling on an area close to the settlement of Aljubarrota, where the topography would counteract the Castilian advantage in manpower and horsepower. To thwart cavalry charges, the Portuguese army dug themselves into a hilltop and defended it with ditches and poles. The Castilian army began a series of frontal attacks against the Portuguese defenses, certain of victory because of their overwhelming numerical strength. But the Castilian cavalry was slowed down by the fortifications while the Portuguese defenses held firm. Nuno Álvares Pereira employed defensive infantry formations and longbowmen as part of his tactics, which drew inspiration from the English victories during the 100 Years' War. The Castilian forces sustained significant losses from arrows and counterattacks and were unable to breach the Portuguese defenses. Result and importance: an ambiguous win. The Portuguese emerged victorious in this encounter. Thousands of men, including numerous lords and leaders, were killed in the crushing defeat of the Castilian army. After barely avoiding arrest, Castile's King John I withdrew back to his realm. Getting independent, John I's claim to the throne was established and Portuguese independence was preserved with the victory at Aljubarrota. John I was formally acknowledged as the king, and Castile's aspirations to seize Portugal came to a stop as a result. Basis for an international empire, the victory at Aljubarrota had a significant impact on Portugal's future. John I's rule brought stability, which enabled Portugal to start a period of exploration and growth. Portuguese explorers explored the Atlantic, Africa, Asia, and ultimately the Americas throughout the course of the following century with financial backing and encouragement from the monarchy. A massive Portuguese empire was established as a result of this era of exploration, with colonies and trading centers located all over the world. Portugal rose to prominence as a colonial and maritime force, building the framework for an empire that would span the globe for centuries. History. In Portuguese history, the Battle of Aljubarrota is revered as a testament to the tenacity and pride of the country. John I erected the spectacular Gothic Batalha monastery to honor the Virgin Mary for the triumph, and it serves as a memorial to her. The fight proved the potency of carefully thought-out defensive strategies and the resolve of a lesser force to repel a more powerful invader from its territory. Quick repercussions. King John I of Castile withdrew to his realm following the resounding victory at Aljubarrota, ensuring Portugal's freedom. In addition to preserving John I's right to the throne, the victory proved that defensive military tactics might prevail even against an army that was numerically superior. Stabilization of politics. Portugal's King John I took prompt action to bring about national stability. He reinforced the central government and gave important estates and titles to his loyalists, especially Nuno Álvares Pereira. Portugal needed this consolidation of authority in order to bounce back swiftly from the unrest of the previous years. Windsor Treaty. Portugal and England accepted the Treaty of Windsor in 1386. One of the world's oldest alliances that is still in force today, the Anglo-Portuguese alliance, was solidified by this treaty. Along with opening the door for trade and cultural relations, the pact offered reciprocal military assistance. The Portuguese maritime development and exploration were greatly aided by this union, the age of exploration, and the rise of the Portuguese Empire. John of Avis' rule brought stability, which let Portugal concentrate on discovery and growth. Early on in the Portuguese Age of Discovery, his son Prince Henry the Navigator rose to prominence. Portuguese explorers started mapping the African coast under Henry's patronage in an effort to find new trade routes and business prospects. Important discovery and conquests of Africa and the Atlantic Islands, the Madeira and Azores archipelagos were found and settled by Portuguese navigators. Along the coast of West Africa, they also built trading facilities that were essential to the booming slave and spice markets. India and the Far East. By visiting India in 1498, Vasco da Gama created direct trade channels to Asia, obviating the necessity for middlemen. Portuguese domination in the Indian Ocean was established, marking a momentous milestone in global trade. Brazil. Found by Pedro Álvares Cabral in 1500, Brazil would grow to be one of Portugal's most significant possessions due to its abundance of gold and sugar resources. Greater consequences for Europe's economy. The Portuguese Empire had a significant economic impact as it established a global commercial network. It broke through the previous land channels dominated by Islamic and Venetian middlemen and gave Europe direct access to precious commodities like gold, silks, spices, and silks. Portugal's economy flourished as a result, and other European countries' economies were also impacted. Pride in the nation's identity. Portuguese national identity was shaped in large part by the outcome of the Battle of Aljubarrota and the subsequent expansion of the Portuguese Empire. The fight is revered as a representation of the country's tenacity and resolve, and the Age of Discovery is much respected. Monastery of Batalha. Constructed by John I to honor the triumph at Aljubarrota, the Batalha Monastery continues to be among Portugal's most significant historical sites. It is evidence of the country's rich history of exploration and its medieval past. Persistent partnership with England. A strong alliance was formed by the Treaty of Windsor, and it has remained strong despite numerous shifts in global politics. This alliance demonstrated the long-term strategic advantages of the collaboration established in the wake of Aljubarrota and was crucial during the Napoleonic Wars and World War II. Beyond merely a military conflict, the Battle of Aljubarrota in 1385 was a pivotal event that changed Portugal's destiny and had a long-lasting impact on world history. The conflict established Portuguese independence, paved the way for the rise of a strong maritime empire, and established the framework for contemporary exploration and globalization. Portugal still celebrates the heritage of Aljubarrota, which stands for the country's lasting spirit and its significant contribution to world history.